This is a story about how I became a 30-year-old male who is secretly afraid to be outside after dark in cities. I live in Manchester, in the UK, and it's widely regarded as a relatively safe and multicultural city, good transport, friendly locals, and plenty to do. I don't live there anymore, but I'm proud to be from there, and I will always have one hometown. This took place in 2016. And at the time, I was working for a company that hired me to work on contracts. So 4, 6, sometimes even 8 months abroad, and then 2 or 3 months at home. So when I was home, I made sure to see family and friends as much as possible, whether it be meeting and playing video games, a drink at the bar, playing sports, or traveling together. The incident took place when I was on my way home after a night out drinking, and I write this 4 years on since it happened. I still have PTSD from the incident, and think of this as my way of telling you all to be careful out there, as well as this being an opportunity for me to talk about it. Those who know Manchester know about its quite frankly amazing tram system. It's affordable and easy to understand. There is a tram station right near to my apartment, just outside the city center. I had been back in the country for 7 days and had arranged to meet my friends in the city for a reunion of sorts, drinking, dancing, and catching up. You know how that goes. It's important to note at this point that at the time there was a homeless gentleman that adopted the tram stop near my apartment as his own. He would always sit at the top of the stairs leading down to the platform, and whenever I used the tram, I would always see him without fail. It had even gotten to the point where we exchanged a friendly nod to each other every time. But this time, on the way to the city to meet my friends, everything changed. On any normal occasion, he would be sitting under the shelter at the top of the stairs, either asking passers-by for money or just saying hello. But as I approached the top of the stairs, around 20 to 30 meters away, I saw him, and he stood up straight, almost too straight, with his chest out, just glaring right at me in the most menacing way. His brow was furrowed, his jaw was clenched, and he was breathing heavily. I could see his chest rising up and down with speed from now 20 meters away. Maybe drugs was involved or something had angered him. Why me? I thought. Now, I'm not the biggest guy in the world. I'm 6 foot and athletic, but I don't believe violence is the answer in any case. I'm not easily intimidated at all, but the way this guy looked at me sent shivers down my spine. I immediately looked down after we made eye contact, and then looked ahead, because I thought maybe it was just a glance from him. Then, I looked back at him again, when I was even closer and his eyes were still on me. This time they were wide, and he looked unhinged like he was ready to attack. I looked away again because at this point I felt I had to ready and prepare myself for a potential confrontation with this guy. When I was close to him, I looked back again, and he took a step forward, watching my every move, looking me up and down as if he was assessing my weaknesses. As I approached the top of the staircase, he was turning his head as I moved. I knew that this was not normal behavior from him, or anyone for that matter. I thought I have to address this, because he's freaking me out, so I stopped, met his gaze, and pointed my body towards him just before I went down the stairs, and I calmly asked him, "Is everything okay, mate? Can I help you with something?" Nothing. I got absolutely nothing as he looked into my eyes. I could hear his fast breathing at this point through his nose, and he looked like he was having some sort of episode. So I moved on and quickly went down the stairs. What the fuck has gotten into this guy? I thought. I almost felt bad for him. At the halfway point of the stairs, I looked behind me to see him standing at the top, looking down, directly at me again. I could only describe the look he gave me as bone-chilling. He looked like a predator that had found his prey. I kept moving as I didn't know if this guy had a weapon or what his intentions were at this point. When I got to the bottom of the stairs, I turned around again, and to my shock, He had walked 4 to 5 steps down, still standing and glaring at me with the same disturbed and angered look. He was clearly stalking me now. I could feel my heartbeat in my ears, and sweat was forming on my forehead and palms. Luckily for me, the platform was very busy, and the tram I needed to catch was approaching, so I quickly immersed myself amongst the crowd of people getting onto the tram and found a seat. Wouldn't you know it, when I sat down and the tram started moving, I looked back towards the bottom of the staircase, and there he was, just glaring at me with this horrific, sinister grin on his face. I did not feel safe. I felt targeted. His head moved and followed the tram, looking me in the eyes as we moved away. The entire journey to the city I felt on edge, anxious, and all I could do was think about that guy. When I eventually got there, my friends automatically picked up on the fact that I seemed a little off, so I told them about the situation I was just in, which they just dismissed, saying that I was probably just being paranoid and that he'll be gone by the time I get back home. I agreed with them because I realized that he is usually only there during the daytime, so I enjoyed the night. We all drank, laughed, and even met some cute girls. Before I knew it, I was hammered, to the point where I had to look at my phone with one eye closed. My balance was off, and I felt like I could throw up at any second. It was around midnight and time to go home, so I said goodbye to my friends and arranged to meet the next weekend due to the success of this one. The last tram was approaching, and I had to run drunk as a skunk to make it in time. I got onto the tram, and when I got a seat and caught my breath, I remembered what happened at the tram station on the way back to the city. I felt sober suddenly, and I was honestly on the verge of an anxiety attack, until I remembered that I never usually see the guy late at night, which was comforting for the remainder of my journey. The tram arrived at my stop and I got off. I just stood there for a second, surveying my surroundings. The platform was empty. The skies were clear, although dark. The air was warm, and the only sounds were the nearby traffic and the tram leaving the platform. I remember it like it was yesterday. I looked towards the bottom of the staircase and the platform leading to the street, and I took a deep breath. I approached the stairs and looked towards the top. Much to my relief, he wasn't there. Stage 1 over. Stage 2 was easy. Get to my building, which was about 150 meters away from the stairs. As I slowly walked up the stairs, trying to make as little noise as possible, my heart was in my throat. All I could think about was what I would do if he was there. But I was drunk and I didn't think fast enough. I arrived at the top and looked to my left, and what do you know? He's there. And as soon as I look at him, his head snaps, and he's looking me in the eyes with the same terrifying look, almost foaming at the mouth like he's won a prize. He stands up slowly and turns to face his body towards me. At this point, I realized how tall he was. About 6'2", huge gray and dirty beard, almost skinny with a lean body type. I was almost pissing myself. So to break the tension, I just nodded at him and told him, "Good night, mate," and I walked on quickly towards my apartment. I suddenly heard a deep, hoarse voice say, "You got any spare change?" Loud and obnoxious. Which I turned and replied quickly whilst I was walking backwards. "No, mate, sorry. Have a good night, though," and walked on again. I was free, and my anxiety was disappearing. All I was thinking about was getting to my building as fast as possible. Then, I heard what felt like the loudest, most aggressive voice ever. "Hey!" I stopped, and I turned around so fast because he made me jump and scared me. He was holding a knife, and it was pointed directly towards me. The nightmare scenario was playing out now, and I held my breath as he walked slowly towards me. I was definitely sober now, and I weighed up the options. I run and take a risk, or I start to negotiate with him. I thought, there is an ATM nearby, I can get some money and just go home. He was around 5 meters away, with the knife pointing towards me. I wasn't going to let myself die like this. He then said, "I'm going to ask you again. Do you have any spare change?" I couldn't tell whether I wanted to throw up or cry, but I had to get out of this situation. No one else was around that I could see or hear, and it was on me to get out of this. I said to him, "Look, there is an ATM." I couldn't even finish my sentence, because he had thrown the knife at my face. It hit me just above my eye, cutting me on my eyebrow, taking a chunk of skin clean off, and there was blood in my eye, partially blinding me, and there was blood all over my face almost immediately. I was blinded and breathless. I fell to one knee in shock, and I barely saw the knife in front of me on the ground through my drunken, shocked, and partially blinded state. So I reached for it as fast as I could. But it was too late. He had already picked it up and tackled me to the ground. I yelled a guttural and deep shout for help down the street as he tackled me, holding the knife, a sound I didn't know I was capable of making, but the adrenaline was coursing through my veins now. He had the knife in his right hand and plunged it down towards my face, and the only thing I could do was put my hand in the way. I screamed in pain as the guy was on top of me. He had put the knife clean through my hand, in between the knuckles of my middle and index fingers to be specific. I started to push back, and realizing how much stronger I was than him. The tip of the blade was about 5 inches from my face, and then a miracle happened. I heard the voices of a group of people yelling, "Hey, stop!" accompanied with their fast-running feet towards me on the tarmac. The guy's grip on the knife was weak suddenly, and he looked behind himself, clearly seeing the group approaching. They shouted again, yelling, "Get off him!" And he jumped off of me. Unfortunately for me, he took the knife with him and ripped it out of my hands as he jumped to his feet and swiftly ran into the nearby woods. There were 5 people in total who came to my rescue. 2 of them initially chased the guy into the woods before I shouted, "No, he has a knife!" And hearing me say this, they let him go and started to call the police. This incident changed me for the better, and I wake up every day appreciating everything in my life. After the incident, I was rushed to the hospital and I had surgery to reattach the nerves in my hand 2 days later. The guy who attacked me is in prison now for attempted murder. The police showed after the incident within 5 minutes, and full credit to them. They found the guy hiding in the woods, still holding the knife behind a tree, and they managed to subdue and arrest him on the spot. He was on a cocktail of drugs, and he openly admitted to the police that he fully intended to kill me if he had the opportunity. But this incident was simultaneously the best and worst thing that ever happened to me. The best, because I appreciate life so much more now. I talk to those I love every single day. All life is precious. Tomorrow is not guaranteed, and we are all mortal. Stay safe and alert, and do not waste a moment, as you don't know who's going to be waiting around the corner.
Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. If you would like to support the channel, check out the merch link in the video description.